Everyone, Kane here, and welcome to another video of Art of Conquest. In this one, we have hero guides in the version of Gan and Tiadrin. So, we're gonna start with Tiandrin first. Probably one of the more important heroes currently in terms of PvP. We're gonna talk about it. There's a couple of builds that you can go. Probably one is better in the earlier versions of the game, and the other one is better in the later versions of the game. So, equipment. As you can see, the weapon is Flawless Tectonic Great Axe. As for many heroes, you want more damage mitigation. Since she's a paladin, she doesn't have that much inbuilt tankiness. So, providing that tankiness through equipment and features and other bonuses can help you out a lot. So, aside from that, I have a shield, which I did have spiders. I tried out spiders, I tried out a little bit of warlocks. And it was, spiders I actually loved playing. Whether it was a win or a loss, man, that shit was incredibly funny to see and play. And eventually, I might actually go back to them at the very end of the season, perhaps. I'm not sure, I'm still thinking, but I would need to swap my research for that one particular day. So we're gonna see, I'm gonna think a little bit about it. So I didn't really change that much. I think this has the most stats in terms of stamina and stuff. If you want to go for more stats in general, I think this one is better. It gives a little bit more, like 3 stats more or so. But again, really depends what you're focusing. Then the helmet. Honestly, at this point, I went for just the stats. I'm not really winning in stats because majority of the time I fight like friggin' high core people. But the thing is, what kind of stops me from doing that is I would put this one, the feather cap, gain a shield worth of that much, say, HP or whatever. But I kind of want this hero to go down to at least 50% because she will provide a shield in terms of this one to all, I suppose, heroes. However, adding too much tankiness to this hero might be counterintuitive in my own case. I mean, of course, keeping the hero alive is always better, but also her providing a shield for the other heroes to survive for a very long time is also something that I am a little bit mindful. So you could go for stats for whichever stat you want to, or in another case you can just put the feather cap and more or less keep her shielded up, provide her with more tankiness in this way as well. This is the same as like Balrog, why you don't want to put, I suppose, the Drake set on Balrog, because you want him to take damage. Then that damage is being healed, and he provides that heal towards the army. So putting a Drake set on him is counterintuitive because at some portions of the time he's not gonna take any damage, and this is something similar. Then of course we have Flawless Arcane Armor. More resistances, the better. She's not gonna take huge tons of damage, so even say Avril or Valerie or stuff, they will not one-shot her. They will still do damage to her, but I'm not aiming for this hero to be instantly deleted. And, having some resistances is better than either having all of them or having none at all. So as much as I like providing resistances, I don't really like to overdo it on this particular hero. So who knows, I might try a different build and go for the feather cap and probably remove this one, which is the Purge of the Lands, and put resistances as well. So that would, kind of mean that she's not likely gonna drop down to 50%, but we're gonna see what the future brings. So in terms of trinkets, currently I have Hour of Retribution +1 and the Purge of the Lands +1. Other trinkets that you could use if you want to swap this one in particular, you should keep the other one. I mean, self-preference, if you want to swap the other one as well, that's fine. The only other trinket you might want to do is magic resistance 30%. Unless, of course, you want to place her near archers or something, you can have others. But personally, I think this is one of the better trinkets to have on your field. So if you put anything else other than those two, you really want to have this one right here. So for artifacts, personally, I want to put two Tiandrins on both sides of the field. The faster they proc one of their passives, the better. I have the Mirror of Reality at 4 stars, so the HP and damage inherited of the reflection is 80%. It's not like full HP value or whatever, but still it's a little bit better than having, say, 50% or lower. So essentially, kind of helps out, doesn't provide a lot of tankiness to the hero itself, but the buffs and the debuffs should proc a little bit quicker. At least I do think so. Though I didn't test with full, I suppose, graphics, because the shield does proc in full graphics, but I do assume so. And if not, if the hero or the main hero dies, essentially the clone still remains alive, and that will also help out with the Aura of Retribution, which we're going to talk about in a second. For Prism, we have, of course, a Prism, which is one of the more important ones, since we're placing two heroes. We have one which is buffing the, I suppose, max-friendly hero attack and HP. Thing is, you have two of the, these heroes. There's only one burst side, so if the hero kind of dies, one of them, I mean the other is alive, and this prism still is on your field. So I decided to put that. I mean, who knows? Maybe there are some better ones as well. In terms of stats, I have 170 mil HP on her. The attack, I'm not sure if that matters. In terms of abilities, so I have Sacred Shield level 9. This is kind of like providing her a shield with max HP and some bonuses, which I think raise depending on her HP. When the shield fails, it grants a shield to all friendly heroes. That is why I don't want to overdo her with resistances, so she will still take damage and provide this shield to all heroes. 23% of her HP is actually pretty friggin' crazy, because that is like, what, close to 40-50 million HP shield? Like, the buffers are gonna get a huge shield, and that is why I sort of want to do it. So it's a risky, because the hero can die pretty quick depending who you're fighting against, but, you know, sometimes you gotta risk. Then I have Purge of the Lands level 10. The reason why you would want to level this that high is because of her potential ability. So if we go on to here, we see that the ability without anything just reduces the Wall of the Liches. When you upgrade it with potential, during battle, if Tiandrin's abilities heal or provide a shield to allied heroes, they take 35% less damage. Which means, if this hero falls below 50% and procs that shield on all heroes for 10 seconds are going to take 35% less damage. So it depends on circumstances. If they get your stall side and you have Tiandrin on stall side heroes are going to take a lot less damage from, say, their Avril or whatever they're gonna do damage with. So that is what I kind of chose. Instead, other abilities, I have Divine Light, level 7 at the moment. I'm gonna level it one level above whenever I get 75. And we have Aura of Retribution, which is probably one of the more important abilities of her in the later versions of the game. So also from potential. Now, this particular awakening of potential gives you reduce the magic resistance of enemy melee heroes. Now, this is kind of important because the resistance meta heroes have a ton of resistances. Sometimes you're not even able to kill one of their melee heroes, so having this is actually good. And having two Tiadrins, you're probably gonna guarantee that this particular aura is going to last pretty much until, you know, the fight is either won or lost, because depending where you place the Tiadrins, one of them should stay alive for the majority of the battle. Because, you know, that there's only one burst side and one stall side, and if you just split them up, of course, one will survive. Now, the other build is going for Sacred Shield. The thing about this is she gains another shield if her health goes below 50%. So the thing about it is I'm not sure if the shields do stack. If they do, that's great. That means your buffers are going to stay alive a bit longer. But the thing is, it depends which stage in the game you're actually playing on, because in the later versions of the game you kinda do require to reduce enemy resistance, otherwise it's gonna take you like 5 to 10, maybe 20 seconds more to clear the gladiators. Sometimes you're not even gonna clear them, that's how tanky they are. So it is a sort of, a 50-50. Some battles, an additional shield would mean your heroes are not going to die, or as easy in terms of your buffers and etc. In some cases, you're not going to be able to pass enemy gladiators. So it's those things that might benefit you at whichever stage you're at. Personally, right now, reduction of the resistances I think is better, but there are a lot of nuances where the Sacred Shield also would be better. So do keep in mind, some testing might be in order for you to figure out which one is better. And of course, I do have her skin, because, I mean, let's face it, who wouldn't have her skin? And Gan, currently, I don't have him. He's probably, I wouldn't say a must-have, but you probably would want to have him on your field regardless which race you play. Simply because of his abilities in terms of his ultimate, Nature's Blessing, grants more HP to your dragon, and also grants a heal to your dragon every 12 seconds or so. Thing is, I don't have place at the moment for him, and he actually dies pretty quick. So I'm not really sure where I can place him, because he literally just goes friggin' melee range. So I don't have that much stuff and experience to just straight up level him to plus 70. And keeping him like level 65, 68, he's probably gonna be blasted pretty friggin' quick. So it's better for me to try and keep a little bit of a tankier hero personally than him. But there are nuances where this hero wouldn't be touched, and then it would be a little bit better. Like if you're fighting burst versus burst, and this hero is on stall side, he's not going to be touched. So your dragon on your burst side would be a little bit tankier in terms of the PvP. However, if you're facing burst versus stall, pretty much Gan is gonna die pretty quick regardless of what you do and what you have on him. So he's gonna drop a prism effect or that buff pretty quick. So it's really nuances where things might be better for you to have something else, or things might be better for you depending which side of the enemy you're facing. So if you would be using this hero, personally, you would pick up this staff, healing efficacy 20%, because of course your dragon is going to be healed by a lot more than just like 3% or so. Some healing efficacies and stuff just go off the roof with the healing, can heal like friggin' 10, 15, 20%. Even if they say 3%, sometimes even a full HP bar, to be aware. In terms of the book, I think, one moment, Nature's Blessing. I think there is a trinket with Nature's Blessing, but I'm not sure. Aside from that, if you do want to use another trinket, you might want to do this. I mean, it's a lot less stats, but then it grants your ultimate +1. In terms of a helmet, I'm not sure if there are a ton of choices for sages in terms of him, but if I would want him to survive and survive a lot longer, again, Feathered Cap provides a shield every so seconds. That shield is pretty big considering how you're building your field. If you're very early in the game, it might not do much to you, but if you have a ton of hero resistances and proccing a shield every so seconds, I mean, it's a pretty big deal, because there's gonna be a ton of shields proccing as well from Tiandrin. Then in terms of the armor, if you're gonna be using Gan, the abilities you're gonna be leveling is the Nature's Blessing, and if you're playing Sylvani, the Trent Mastery. then of course you're gonna have a ton of points left over. So the only other ability you're gonna be using is this particular one, Earthquake. It's gonna reduce a ton of attack speed, and having this particular one, outgoing control effects last 20% longer. I do think that Earthquake is gonna last 20% longer. I'm not sure, but the effect that it would have at the very end of the tick, probably like 5 seconds after the Earthquake finishes, so that 5 seconds could turn to 6. I mean, 1 second sometimes is actually pretty huge. So, I mean, who knows? I don't think that there are better armors that he can actually have, and that's just because of his particular race. In terms of trinkets, I mean, who can guess? I mean, magic resistance 30%. I mean, that is a no-brainer. You kind of have to have this. Because if Avril is gonna snipe him instantly, I mean, you're gonna lose a huge buff. So you want them to waste as many things on your hero as possible. Aside from that, if you're gonna have Nature's Blessing on this book, I think there is a Trent Mastery as well. Let's just quickly check. I'm not entirely sure, but we can easily just check. So we go on to craft, we go on to heroes, so we're gonna find Gan. I think I've seen Trent Mastery somewhere. I'm not sure actually where. Life Force, so this is the trinket I spoke about. I think I seen Trent Mastery somewhere, but God, I can't remember what it was and whether I've seen it. If not, then perhaps going for a Sage set, rather Sage Drake set, could be better if you're playing Sylvani. If you're not, then again, 30% magic resistance, and then based on where you're placing the hero. I mean, you could go for more shields, you could add another tankiness thing. I mean, the more resistances the heroes have, the less chances that they're gonna die, the less chances that the auras are going to disappear. Because be aware that if your heroes start dropping, you will start to lose your prism bonuses, the ones you have put on field, you're gonna lose auras. But if you keep those auras and they're not clearing your front line, keeping them up is going to actually help you out and stall out more. Because if you're gonna lose this hero, and he has a proper prism, like for example something like this, they're gonna lose a ton of stats, a ton of bonuses that could potentially help you out. And you're gonna lose that power even on your burst side if you're gonna lose the prism. So be aware that tankiness is pretty much a way to go for majority of the buffers. In terms of artifact, I have no idea, but I do have an idea. If you're playing Sylvani, likely you want to have, one moment, where is it? I know I have it on Avalon, I think. Here it is, the Sky Totem. You want, if this hero is focused, you want to have at least 3 seconds invincibility. However, some people who are playing Sylvani also have Solantris on him, which is the artifact that all of us place on Elana. This is also an option. However, then Elana will have to have another invincibility. So they put Elana with Sky Totem usually. In that case, your Elana has to be in a safer position, probably closer to your burst side. Otherwise, if Elana is focused and she has a very short invincibility, she's gonna be deleted pretty quickly. And if you lose that magic resistance bonus, probably your trees are gonna die in a rather quick succession. So that is the way people build them. In terms of potential, I mean, of course, if you are going to play Sylvani, you really want to level them up in terms of Trend Mastery. Then you have, of course, Earthquake. And on pot 70, this is a no-brainer. It increases magical creatures' HP. So playing Sylvani, you can level it. If you're playing it on other races, the only potential that can help you is 70. And for a buffer that is likely to die in many cases, I mean, pot 70 could be wasted in more than 50% of the cases. However, if you're fighting burst versus burst, and this hero is on stall side, it's gonna help you out a ton. So be aware, that is how usually it's played. Now, in terms of hero mastery, it really depends where you place them. It really depends what you're using. Uh, Situational. I think I have one command buff on Tiandrin buffing frontline, and I think I have a defensive one or something. I think in protection or divine. I'm not sure. And of course, Gan doesn't have anything. All I know is that I do have command on her. I think command 2. That I can't say because she's buffing uh, probably most of the frontline that I have. And then I think one divine for healing, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. But like I said, I cannot really show my hero mastery. But those ones I actually could talk about. So yeah, that is pretty much it for both of these heroes. Do let me know in the comments down below if they helped you out. If they did, do hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. And if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that. In return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of events, PvP formations, and stuff like that. As well as I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. I really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.